Hello, everybody. My name is Toni Branner, and I'm here with Anna. We're so excited to talk to you today. This is something when we met each other probably about 6 months ago, we really realized we had a common passion for helping people. And some of the information that Anna shares with her clients was complementary to the information I share with my clients. And we thought, wow, what a great idea to get together and to put it into a presentation. So thank you for being on. If you're on this call, it's because you're already smart and you're putting energy and time into yourself and into your health. So that means a lot. And we thought it would be more fun if we had some visuals. So I'm going to share my screen with you so we can have a little fun here with some pictures. There we go. And I'm going to turn it over to Anna and let her kind of introduce herself and get us started. You have to unmute, Anna. Unmute.
Forgot about that. Welcome, everybody. This is so exciting because, like Toni said, it's really wonderful how our information complementary. And I know everybody's really, really busy. I really appreciate they take a little bit of time off your schedule to take care of yourself. This is wonderful. Then, yes, for the ones that don't know me, I'm a physical therapist. I also have a degree as a coach. I work with wellness coach, and I have the gift of healing with energy healing. They kind of combine the body, mind, and the spiritual part of the health part, the healing. Then that's a little bit about me. Toni, do you want to kind of?
Yeah, absolutely. So I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we have East Coast, West Coast going on here today. And my background is in exercise physiology and nutrition. I was a professor and director of a wellness center, and that was a long time ago, about 30 years ago. And I started looking at research on inflammation and oxidative stress and really how we have more power than we think to prevent disease and to live a life of optimal health. And so I started my own company doing seminars and workshops around the country, educating business people, school systems, continuing ed for doctors and healthcare providers and physical therapists, and just trying to catch everybody up on the science behind this and how to make it practical for their patients. And we like to start everything with intention, so I'm going to turn it over to Anna to just kind of share with you our intentions for our time together today.
Wonderful. I'm going to make sure that I turn off my phone. I would suggest you guys to do the same. I forgot to ask them in the beginning. And yeah, then I send an email asking, and I ask some of my patients as well, what would be your intention about inflammation? What would you like to know and why you're doing this? Join us today. And most of the people are very curious about some information they don't have. And some people are already dealing with some chronic disease or inflammatory disease or autoimmune disease. And they want to know how to get better and how to prevent get worse. Like arthritis is a big one between my population of clients. And they want to know how can prevent to get arthritis worse or other chronic disease. The intention for today is give some information that's about what is inflammation and differentiate the parts of the body and mind and how things affect each other and how can we prevent those things from happening. Then we're going to give a lot of very simple tips that you guys can do it, that everybody can do it, no matter how busy you are, you can incorporate in a daily life. And that's the goal for today. There is no excuse about don't have time to make it life better.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Anna. That's true. And what we know is that there's really no such thing as different diseases. All diseases start with the same root problem, inflammation at the cellular level. So this is so exciting because what if we could prevent disease way before anyone had a tumor, way before anyone had chest pain, way before anyone had an autoimmune disease? That would be true prevention. And that's what got me so excited about learning about the simple changes we can make in our lifestyle, in our behaviors, in our eating to really prevent it, nip it in the bud, so to speak. I also work with a lot of athletes. What cuts their career short? inflammation and injury, right? So it applies not only to disease prevention, but to performance and being the best you can be physically and mentally. I also work with a lot of performers and speakers and actors and dancers, and what cuts their career short, inflammation. A lot of our singers have issues with their vocal cords, and all of the solutions are pretty much the same no matter which group you're a part of. Other things that we look at are function and independence and living to be 110 and dying in your sleep without ever being sick. We look at the immune system, and we've learned that we can actually calm down the people with autoimmune diseases like Crohn's and fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue and Hashimoto's thyroid and type 2 diabetes. And we can bring the people from the bottom up that are catching every cold and flu and strep throat and mono. And we can bring their immune system into balance. So the immune system and this whole idea of inflammation are very much connected. The same solutions will help you. So it's going to improve performance as well to reduce inflammation in the body. It's going to improve range of motion. So just so many goals are achieved. I want to be able to open my own can of soup and tie my own shoes and brush my own hair when I'm 100 and be actively involved in my community and my family, not spending my life savings on medication and medical treatment. And there are many areas of the world where that really happens. We call them the blue zones. Another area of research, when I was in graduate school, I really started looking at something called oxidative stress. And we don't have a lot of time today to talk about it, but I think if you want to understand nutrition, especially, you need to understand this whole concept of we have to breathe oxygen to stay alive, but the very oxygen we breathe is what causes aging and disease. How is that possible? Well, it's kind of like a fire in the fireplace. It's warm, it's pretty, but what's left over are the ashes. Well, when you breathe oxygen, you create energy through metabolism, but there's a leftover, kind of like the ashes, and the leftover is called a free radical. And free radicals are actually little molecules that are missing an electron. So they run around your body trying to steal an electron from your healthy molecules. And once they do that, they're neutralized. They can't hurt you anymore. But when they steal the electron, they cause a little bit of damage, maybe to your proteins, maybe to your retina. That's how we see macular degeneration starts. Maybe to your skin that starts wrinkling. Oh no, I don't want to be wrinkled. Maybe to your DNA. If a free radical damages your DNA, that's called a mutation. And a mutation could lead to cancer, right? Because now that cell is damaged and it starts to replicate abnormally. So these free radicals are a little bit of a problem. If you imagine an apple, when the oxygen hits it, that's kind of the same idea. It starts to deteriorate, right? Well, the same thing's happening in your cells. I know that seems kind of scary, but it's going to get happier in just a minute because there is a solution for this problem of oxidative stress in your body. If you have oxidative stress, you're going to need some superheroes to counteract it. And the superheroes are called antioxidants. And a lot of people have heard that word before, but maybe they don't know what antioxidants actually do in their body. And I'm a nerd, of course. I love the science. But antioxidants have an extra electron to give away. So it gives it to the free radical, which is unstable, neutralizes it, and then it's expelled from the body without even hurting you, without taking a bite out of your cells. And some antioxidants can actually repair DNA damage before the cell starts to replicate. In other words, your own body has the ability to prevent cancer right there, all if you're just giving it the right fuel, the right food. So where do you get antioxidants? Some of them we make within our own body, but most of them we have to eat, and they only come from plants, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains, and beans, which a lot of people have decreased the amount of plant food that they eat over the last 50 years. And as a result, we've seen a great increase in disease, inflammation, immune system issues, you name it. It contributes to everything. So getting back to some basics of eating a more plant-based diet is a solution for inflammation, for building a balanced immune system, for decreasing oxidative stress and damage to your cells. And so jumping back in the salad bowl, jumping back in the fruit bowl, jumping back in the smoothie, and getting as many colors as you can reduces your risk of every known chronic disease, even things like mild dementia, Alzheimer's, everything. And when we look at the countries that consume the most plants, you can see the green in this graph are the ones who consume the most plants. The red are deaths from heart disease and cancer. Do you notice anything? They're actually indirectly proportional. So the more plants we can get into our diet, the lower our risk, not just of heart disease and cancer. Guess what? The graph looks the same for diabetes. It looks the same for Parkinson's. It looks the same for autoimmune, for eye disease, for everything. So increasing that plants, people are always saying, how many do I need to eat? More. You need to eat more than most people eat. Another quick science lesson is that we have little switches on our genes, our genetic makeup. And a lot of people have stuff that runs in their family genetically, but guess what? You're not doomed because of that, because we've learned through very cutting edge research that you have a little switch on each of your genes, and you can turn on the good ones and turn off the bad ones with your choices, with your lifestyle behaviors. So that gives people a lot of hope, because even the people with the worst breast cancer gene, the worst colon cancer gene, the obesity gene, don't have to experience those things in their life. The other thing we know is that we have a colony of bacteria that live in us and on us called your microbiome. And what we've learned is that the only thing it can eat are plant foods. And if you have a healthy diet, your gut biome can help lower inflammation, can help determine a healthy immune system, a healthy metabolism. Your gut bacteria, if they're unhealthy, can actually even hijack your brain and make you crave sugar. My phone is making all kinds of noise. I'm gonna hide it over here. And so the new motto is live dirty, eat clean. Maybe don't go on antibiotics unless you absolutely have to. Don't use Purell and all of that disinfectant as much. Let your kids play in the dirt. Don't worry if you have a dog or cat and there's a little stuff tracked in from outdoors, because the people who are exposed to those things have a healthier gut colony, and the people who have better nutrition and hydration have a healthier gut colony. And the last little tip that I wanted to share with you about the science behind inflammation is really looking at the pH of your body. Disease loves acidity, and when we can keep the body from being too acidic, it kind of shuts down the disease process, which is super awesome. So let's say you eat an acidic food, maybe drink a soda, maybe have alcohol, maybe a donut, even like a big chicken breast. Animal foods are very acidic in the body. Your body metabolizes it, creates uric acid, and then your pH gets off to the wrong side and alarms start going off in your body. And you have to get back to that neutral pH or you'll die. So your body has no choice but to start pulling calcium from your bones and your muscles to get you back to that neutral zone. And so the people who eat the most acidic foods have the most bone loss and the most disease across the board and the most inflammation. Well, guess which foods are alkaline and will push you to the good side? Surprise, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, whole grain, beans. And the foods that are acidic are sugar, animal foods, dairy foods, sodas, alcohol, white breads, and rice that have been stripped of the whole grains. So I like to share that with people, and I'm going to turn it back over to Anna to share a little bit more of the science behind why this is all so important and why we have more control than we think.
Thank you, Toni. Yeah, we all know that we need to eat healthy. Sometimes we don't. And a lot of times the reason that we don't is related to our emotions. And a lot of the craving and everything behind of, I really need sugar, I need the chocolate. If we ask ourselves what is causing that, that is that subconscious need of something to feel that piece of us that's not being complete. Then I love to watch the autonomic nervous system, because this is something that happens in our body. then we can help to trigger a more relaxed state, or it can help to trigger a fight and flight. Then can get the next slide. Yeah, there you go. Then when we think about the sympathetic nervous system, this is something that happens automatic in our body. Our heart is always beating, our lungs is always getting the air in and out, but the quality of the things that's happening, it depends on what's happening to us right now. Then if we think back to the dinosaur age, we had to run from the animals, and we need that moment where we need to fight or flight to survive. When that happens, we inhibit our salivation, we increase our heartbeat, we have a very shallow breath. You don't have a lot of digestion, your digestive system completely shut down, because all you need to focus right now is the running from the animal or fight the animal. But what's happening is we became on the state of chronic fight and flight. And then we ask ourselves why we can't digest the food properly, why are we having so much gut problem, why the heart is getting so much actual work. Imagine you being shallow breath and not correctly. That can cause all kind of disease, all kind of inflammation. And like Toni said in the beginning, everything starts with the inflammation. It's like brush your teeth. We don't see the cavity after don't brush for a day. It's the same thing with the sympathetic system. You can be there for a while. It builds up until one day your body say, hey, enough is enough. I can't take anymore. And then you get next. Next slide.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
It's loud for some reason. Come on.
It frozen.
Come on, come on. Okay, come on. Sorry, guys.
And what happened with that system that you're working so hard to keep your body, it's really overworking to keep yourself on a more stable state. Then when we think about stress, and stress can be physical or emotional, we will trigger the sympathetic response, what we just talked about it. And when that happens, we also have a decrease of oxygen level of our body. And Toni explained about the paradox of the oxygen, but we have the benefits of the oxygen as well. And we don't have oxygen, the cell get weak. And when they reproduce with the weakness as well. Then, and that is the other side that Toni talked about it, where the oxygen is also causes damage, and that's why we need to bring the fruits and vegetables and all the other parts. But when we have the weak cell, independent of what's causing the weak cell, we create inflammation. And more inflammation we have, more disease we create. Then it's kind of going back to the cavity idea, it's kind of starts building up very, very slow, very, very slow. And one day your body become like, it's kind of like I call it like a red flag. And they say, hey, please take some care of me at this moment. Then and how the emotions affect the body. Then if we think back about the anxiety, the people that have anxiety, they always on the flight. They always try to run away. They always try to avoid things. People that are angry all the time, they are fighting. And people that have depression, they usually freeze. The independent of what extremity you are, if you are very depressed or very angry or very depressed or very a lot of anxiety, all those negative emotions, they will trigger the sympathetic system. And when you're in a stressful situation, it will make you act sometimes the way that you don't want to act, like you're going to say something back to someone that you don't want to, or you're going to avoid a very important meeting because you don't want to deal with that. Those are the ways that the body responds to that situation when we are not in balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic system. And next. Then what do we do about that, right? We all have those moments. And next. And Sometimes they are necessary for us to live our life. We can't live a life where everything is completely perfect. But the good news is there are ways for us to trigger our parasympathetic. And the parasympathetic causes exactly the opposite. Then it's going to increase your salivation, it's going to increase our digestive system function, it's going to force us to do a deeper breath, and it's going to slow down our heart rate, what's exactly what we want to heal our body. Then we're going to talk about a little bit more how can we do that, but we know the relaxation and positive thoughts can trigger the parasympathetic response. And if we have all this perfect environment, then your body is going to start to heal yourself, and it's going to start creating stronger cells, and those are going to create more health. And of course, if you have a better environment, you have less inflammation. That's always kind of like a good or bad proposition in your body. You're either feeding the good cells or we're either feeding the bad cells. And we always have to choose what we want to feed. Okay, next. The very simple way for us to know how we're feeding ourselves is if we go back to the research from Dr. Masaru Emoto. It's a very famous research, I'm sure a lot of you heard before, where he talked about the power of the words. And when you speak positive words to the water, it's actually changed the crystalline molecule of the water. And when you say or you write it negative words to the water become that ugly brown thing on the right side that you can see on the screen. And there are a lot of other research that prove that. They have the rice research. Kids are doing that those days in school, where they start like telling the bad things they say to their peers, and suddenly the rice become like bad, and the other rice that's been given love, it lasts much longer before become bad. Then if we think about back to our body, we have all this environmental stimulation that really trigger us to be in a state of fight and flight. And we also have 60 to 80% of our body that's water. Then if we let those words or those thoughts affect our body, that's what creates in our body, because we are made of water. Then imagining the words that you've been saying to yourself today, how have you been treating your body today? When you have pain, what do you say to yourself? Do you be nice to yourself? Or do you say bad words? I hate this pain. I don't like my gut. My body doesn't work well. But the words that we use to ourselves, again, it can feed the good cells or can feed the bad cells. And we have the choice to choose the right words that we want to feed to ourselves. Same way do we feed the food, we can feed our body with right words or better choice of words. And next. And I have seen so many cases and so many stories, so many people that I met before, they have their relationship with how they're feeling about their body and how they transform that to reality, and recognize what cells are we creating over time. Again, it is an over time experience, not because you mistreat yourself one day that you're going to create cancer. But I heard so many women, they had breast cancer, for example. They say they hate their breasts. It was too big, it was too small, and whatever was, they just didn't have a good relationship. And for many years, every time they put the bra, every time they put the shirt, like, oh, I hate this part of my body. And later on, it developed a cancer. And it happened in so many other areas. Like I actually heard a case of someone, they had an accident and became paralyzed. And when they came back to the diary and were reading many years ago, she identified how many times she used the word, I am paralyzed. It just should go to prove to us the power that we have. If we can create those bad incidents, we can also create the good incidents. Then I had another case where a patient of mine, the doctor say, you're never going to walk again. You're just going to be bad. And he was about 50 years old and he has a family, and he's like, no, I'm not going to accept that. And in his mind, he starts seeing his toes. He had
Yeah, you're going out, Anna. Your voice is going out. I think the internet is having a little trouble. Come back, come back. We lost you on your internet.
at all.
There you go. Can you keep talking and we'll try to get you back? Hello?
Am I back now?
Yeah, you're
Hear
back
me?
now. You're back now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm gonna come back. Did you hear the part about the patient in the hospital?
We heard the part about the gentleman who was believing that he could walk again.
Yeah, let's just come back to the last slide. And then he got to the point that today he's able to walk with no assistant device. And his story, he actually wrote a book about it, and he's like just amazing man. But he really was able to prove that his mind controlled his body, and he was able to change that. One thing that I say a lot to my patients, especially the people that have pain, it's how we see the pain. The pain is actually a good thing. It's a red flag to our body about telling us that something is wrong. Then if we think back to someone that have a diabetes foot, they don't feel the pain. And then they go ahead and step on something, step into nails, and they can create a problem so bad they can actually get to the point of amputation. Just because they don't feel the pain. Then the fact that we feel the pain, it's great. It gives us the chance to stop the pain right on the beginning. That we don't have to live with pain. Pain is not something that's okay to live with. Problem is when we keep tolerating the pain and they tolerate it and then become something much bigger. But if we look at the pain on the beginning and look at that as a good thing and say, hey, my body's giving me the red flag that something is wrong, and something is wrong with my knee. What can I do about my knee? How can I love my knee more? How am I not treating my knee well? Or my shoulder, or my lower back? Then going back to what can I do to make my body feel better instead of just calling my body names because it's giving me pain. Then kind of like how we see the pain or the inflammation. The inflammation goes hand in hand with the pain. Every time you have pain, you have inflammation. Every time that you have inflammation for a long time, you will develop pain. But if we can get there right on the beginning, we will not even get to the pain because we're able to feel that since the beginning. Then next. And then I have, that was my inspiration for actually going to this whole direction where we're going today as far as beliefs and the power of words. Then that's a picture of my brother. My brother was diagnosed with cerebral palsy when he born, and the doctors used to say that he would never walk. That was the first day that he took the first steps by himself, and we went against the whole medical field as far as he would never walk, and today he's walking and he's living his life. And in that moment, I made the decision that my purpose in this world is make a difference in people's life and remind us that we have the power to heal ourselves, that we don't have to depend on any external force. We have that power inside them. And next. And of course, one thing that we all know is about meditation. And meditation can go from something very simple, just like in the middle of a meeting or in the middle of the day, you're really busy, everything is going crazy outside you, just kind of focus on your breath for a couple seconds, take 10 deep breaths, and you can actually feel the difference. You immediately trigger your sympathetic system to calm down. And of course, your sympathetic system calm down, you're going to decrease inflammation. The same thing when you have any pain. Before you go to the medication, try to take a couple deep breaths and see, can you just relax your sympathetic system and stop the bubbling up of inflammation in your body before you take the medication, and they kind of go from there. There are a lot of ways to do meditation. There is a silence meditation, the guided meditation. I actually host a meditation Wednesdays, 7 o'clock Pacific time. It's a free meditation. You guys are welcome to come. We do a lot of self-healing and skin of your body and how you heal your body. And that's something that you guys can learn from in a little bit more depth than today. And just the power that we have with the meditation to trigger the parasympathetic system, and it really calm down the inflammation build up right away. And next.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Wow, I learned a lot, and I love that perspective of being, I've always called it being in tune with your body and being positive with your body. So now I have more language to put around that. A couple of just really simple tips that we all know, but sometimes we don't actually put into practice, is what happens between this and this when we are not getting regenerating sleep. We're eating huge meals right before we go to bed, so our body's having to digest the food instead of regenerating cells. We maybe are using screen time within the hour we go to bed, so that studies show that disrupts our sleep. Maybe we're consuming alcohol. Studies show that will decrease your sleep. And making the room dark can keep that melatonin where it needs to be without disrupting your sleep. So those are just a couple of the tips. The other one is exercise. You can't talk about nutrition without talking about oxygenating your body and using your body and moving your body. We've engineered physical activity out of our lives, and now we have to sometimes artificially put it back in and go to yoga and go to workouts and go for a walk. With our kids, a lot of our kids are more sedentary now, so we have to, enroll them in sports and do all kinds of things to try to get them active again. But there's all different types of exercise, and what I recommend is a variety, and that the real perfect exercise for each person is the one that they'll do. That's the most important thing, is you've got to move your body. And there is some evidence that it might be better to have more constant, moderate activity than taking yourself to the limit until you can't move anymore. There is some evidence for that, because when you push yourself to the limit, you can have double or triple the free radicals produced, more protein damage, a lot more recovery has to take place. So, so maybe it's okay to do, 3 or 4 10-minute walks instead of one super, super hard session. But the most important thing is to fit it into your day and make it a priority. That's the most important thing. And then one of the easiest things to fix is hydration. If you're dehydrated, it's going to affect every aspect of your physiology. Even the discs in your back will not be good cushions for your vertebrae if you're dehydrated. Your bones are 22% water. Your brain's 85% water. And like Anna said, your body's mostly water. So that's part of the reason your self-talk and your positive attitude is going to keep your body healthier. We know when people wake up in the morning that they're already 2% down in dehydration, and that can affect your attention, your focus, your energy. But by the afternoon, most Americans especially are 5% down. And guess what a lot of us do? We mistake that feeling for the need for food or snacks or caffeine. So a lot of people reach for the coffee or the caffeine when really they need to rehydrate themselves. And so what we do in our practice is we have people keep it super simple. We have them look in the toilet every time they go, and it should be clear to maybe lightly straw colored. But if your urine is darker than that, you're dehydrated. And if you teach your family that, your kids that, kids love to talk about the toilet. So this is a really good skill to just look in every time, keep it clear, and you don't have to measure liters of water and all of that crazy stuff. The other one is limiting processed foods and sugar, because we know when you consume sugar, it directly increases inflammation and it depresses your immune system for 4 to 6 hours after you consume sugar. So that's one of the easiest things to fix. There's some wonderful fruits, and I just had a date because I was having a little craving for sweets, and dates are packed with antioxidants and nutrition, even though they are very sweet. So it doesn't mean you can never have those sweets again. It just means make them occasional treats, or really look for some substitutes that would satisfy that same craving. And then the really big one, and this is where I have focused my entire career, is on eating colorful. And that doesn't mean M&Ms and Skittles. That means actual different colors of fruits and vegetables. And this is how I became known as the crazy plant lady, because I started teaching people that the antioxidants that are in blueberries are different than the ones that are in spinach, are different than the ones that are in sweet potatoes, are different than the ones that are in onions. And we have to eat the full rainbow in order to protect ourselves from inflammation and from those free radicals. And we don't really even know for sure how much people need to eat. The government says 9 to 13 servings a day. We've taken athletes up to double that amount. We've taken chronically ill people to triple that amount, still showing improvements. So we don't really know, but here's one of the big takeaways. It's not so important to eat a full serving size of each color. It's important to eat a little bit of a lot of colors. So that kind of goes against that whole serving idea of, a half a cup of green beans or a cup of lettuce. Try to get as many colors into your salad, into your fruit salad, into your stir fry, into your vegetable soup as you possibly can, and you'll reduce your risk of every known chronic disease. Another reason that the scientists believe that we have to eat more fruits and vegetables than we used to is because our food supply has been damaged. We're genetically modifying food, we're radiating food, we're not allowing it to vine ripen, right? We are adding 9,000 food additives that our bodies don't even recognize. So that's one reason that this is such a problem. And it's such a miracle because each type of fruit or vegetable has thousands of antioxidants. An apple is predicted to have over 10,000 antioxidants. It would take me 25 pages to show you what's in one apple. That's just 400 of them. And so it's all these little bitty things that are cofactors for helping your body do its job. That's all food is about, is the fuel to help your body do its job. And your body is a miracle. It's an absolute miracle creation. And but you can't just eat junk food and expect it to perform the way that it should. And so when you plan ahead, when you are prepared and you have healthy whole food to grab, we make these salad in jars on Sunday so we can quickly make our salad each day. If you make the food look beautiful, it's going to be more appealing. Be creative. Things like making cookies out of apples. Think outside the box. Kids like compartments and they like a lot of color. So yeah, it isn't super easy, but it is pretty simple. Getting back to those basics of getting every color in your body every day. And with my clients, I use a little bit of gap insurance. So they don't have to feel super guilty if they're not exactly perfect. And this is something that I've used for 22 years. It's called a whole food concentrate. So they take 30 varieties of fruits and vegetables and grains. They let them vine ripen up until the last second. They juice it, and then within 3 seconds, they can dehydrate it. In other words, take the water out. So now it's a powder and put it into a capsule or a little chewable. And when I first heard about this, I just couldn't even believe it that I hadn't thought of it because it makes so much sense. Because once you take the water out, it's a lot easier. There's not all that chewing and it can fit more into people's budget. So this is called Juice Plus Complete. I've been using it with my family and my clients for 22 years. It's 30 varieties, but without the big cost of, if you've ever tried to juice 30 colors, that can cost $30 or $40 a person per day. So for $2 a day, you can get 30 colors of antioxidants into your body in the exact proportion that they were in the whole food. So that's one solution that I use, and this has been There's a little chewies that were made for kids, but a lot of my adult clients like the chewables because it curbs that sweet tooth that they have. You get to do four green, the vegetables, 4 of the purple, which are the grapes and berries, and 4 of the orchard, which are the garden, the fruits. But the reason that I feel comfortable recommending this through my practice, and my husband is a doctor, that he can recommend it to his patients, is because it has published research. So be really careful with supplements because there's a lot of them out there, and some of them don't really have any actual independent published research. This has been clinically tested on old people, young people, pregnant women, actually clinically tested on children. They're using it at MD Anderson Cancer Center on stage 2 to stage 4 ovarian cancer patients with amazing results, showing that it decreases systemic inflammation in only 2 weeks just by flooding your body with those thousands of antioxidants. In about 80 days, it brings the immune system into balance. It improves your gums, your skin. Your outer beauty is a reflection of your inner inflammation, believe it or not. So when you start to flood your body with more plant food, with things like the Juice Plus concentrates, you start to notice it. Your nails grow, your hair grows, your skin clears up. It affects everything. And I think that is so amazing. Another solution that I use with my clients is a smoothie. Because if you could have just one of your meals each day be a smoothie, you can pack another, anywhere from 10 to 20 different colors of fruits and vegetables into your body. I like smoothies better than juicing because with smoothies, the fiber stays in. With juicing, the fiber goes out and there's more sugar. So we can make the glycemic index of our smoothies even okay for our diabetic patients. And again, I use the Juice Plus complete smoothie mix instead of a protein powder because most of our world is I call them proteinaholics. They're doing too much animal protein, too much whey protein, and this is just 10 plant foods. So pumpkin, pomegranate, spirulina, yucca, 5 different non-GMO plant proteins, ancient sprouted grains, gluten-free, all of the things that people ask, kosher. But even if I'm at the airport and I don't have a blender, I can drink a little bit out of a cold bottle of water, pour in my Juice Plus Complete, and I've just had 10 plant foods. So I travel a lot, so I carry that. I don't go anywhere without it. Another solution is to make sure you're going to your farmer's market, get to know your farmers. Sometimes the fruits and vegetables are not labeled organic, but it's only because the farmers can't afford the certification. They're not using pesticides and herbicides, but it costs over $100,000 just to have the certification. And a lot of these are family farms, but they're doing good things. So get to know your farmers, go to restaurants that are serving locally, or maybe grow your own garden. I don't have a lot of time to garden. I do have a big yard, but I do a tower garden. So the tower garden is an aeroponic gardening system. So the water and the nutrients are in the base and it pumps up through the middle and drips on the roots. So I grow all of my own lettuces, kale, spinach, Swiss chard, my tomatoes. I got 6 cucumbers off 1 plant yesterday, all my herbs. The only thing you can't grow are root vegetables. So for California, or just people who don't have time for a regular garden, or maybe they have a lot of critters, or they don't have a good water supply, this is such a good option. I was very skeptical when I first heard about it because I can kill a silk plant, but if I'm able to do this, anybody can. And it paid for itself in the first planting. Another thing is people like programs. They like somebody to tell them exactly what to eat. And I don't really believe in detoxes or diets because that means whatever you're doing, you're going to quit and go back to your old habits. But Anna and I recommend something called the shred. For 10 days, you shred the things that are tearing your health down and add the things that build your health up. And then we help you develop a maintenance program that will be forever changes. We give you recipe books. If you teach a family 5 new recipes, you've changed their life because most of us eat the same things over and over again, and then maybe we eat out twice a week. So ask about that. And the reason this is so encouraging is because even if you've been through a rough time, even if maybe you haven't cared for your body the way you should, we know that your body has an amazing ability to regenerate. and you're replacing those cells all the time. It may not be a quick fix, but in about 4 months, we can really make a huge difference and get most people off their medications, becoming pain-free, all of those things that we worry about. And now that you're knowledgeable, can you notice what's going on with the standard American diet? They're just not getting the protection that they need from their food. They're probably dehydrated. They're probably not moving their body enough. And doesn't this look more delicious? I just think you get to eat more food, and we call that the concept of caloric density, but it's delicious. You never have to be hungry. We don't have to limit serving sizes like we have to do with the standard American diet. So I hope that this has helped. The whole food nutrition idea has 4 purposes. One is to decrease inflammation within the cell, within the joint, within the entire body. The second part is to prevent disease, because we don't ever want any of you to have your mission in life cut short to have to deal with an illness or an injury. It's just not okay. You have lots of great things to contribute to the world, and we don't want you to have to take time out for that. The third reason is to be the best you can be at whatever you do, performance. And lastly, like Anna said, cellular protection. When you brush your teeth, you don't feel you're not getting a cavity, but you still brush your teeth. Well, eating plants, drinking water, having positive words pouring into your body, that's like brushing your cells. You can't feel it, but now that you're knowledgeable about the science, you know that it's working in your body. Every time you eat or drink, you're either feeding disease or fighting it. Every time you talk to yourself, every time you have negative or positive thoughts, you are feeding disease or fighting it. So if you're on this call, you're already part of what Anna and I are calling the Healthy Living Revolution. We're going to take healthy back, one person at a time. And we're also part of a group called Health Made Simple. We have a huge community of people all around the world who are passionate about changing this around, changing our sick care world back into a well care world. So we have what we call our Health Made Simple pros, and they do all different things. Some are physical therapists like Anna, some are exercise and nutrition people like me, some are doctors, attorneys, moms and dads on a mission. But the common factor is that we want to be a part of the solution. So if you'd like to get involved and help support some of our cooking classes, our grocery store tours, our workshops, our webinars, get involved, ask the person that invited you. And I'm going to turn it back over to Anna to say goodbye.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, it's for me, it's wonderful to hear over and over and over. It's nice. I hope that was extremely helpful for you. Hopefully you got at least a couple things that you're ready to change in your life today. And it gave you more hope that you can actually make changes and change your life and decrease inflammation and prevent disease. Then we wanted to thank you, everybody. We're going to open for questions, but we just want to make sure if you wanted to contact us, that's our information there. And whoever invites you to the call, if you want to know more information about the Juice Plus or the Complete or the Tower Garden or anything else as far as what we explained today, feel free to go back to the person that invites you today to get some more information. And if you have more questions, we're going to open for that. And whoever needs to go, I know sometimes people need to go back to their from their lunch break, then that's now it's going to be just open for questions and things like that. Then